Okay. We welcome you to episode 9 of SportsShack. How's everybody doing? My name is Brandon Sally, along with Dennis Toohey. A lot going on in the sports world. I know the Notre Dame Fighting Irish lost to the Ohio State Buckeyes in the championship game last night. Congratulations to them. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish lost, but hey, you can't get them all. And I know the Jets are on the move to making a head coaching hire and a GM hire. We're going to get into that later in the show. And the Hall of Cooperstown just announced their inductees for the 2025 Hall of Fame class. A lot to get into with that later. And I know if something else will come up, we'll talk about it here. But yeah, just definitely a lot to talk about. Dennis, what do you got to say about what's going on in the sports world?
Growing up, my favorite baseball player to watch and see highlights for was Ichiro, and I am so glad he's inducted in the Hall of Fame. To the surprise of nobody, he had all but one vote. I would like to imagine the person who didn't vote for him did so because they had over 10 people on their ballot that they thought should have been in the Hall of Fame, and they knew he was a shoo-in, so I'll use the vote somewhere else. And yeah, I can't wait. Like, I'm actually, like, right now, I just have my phone out. You couldn't see me because I was holding it away from the laptop, but
Right.
I was just texting one of my friends. I was like, I'm going. Like, I don't know if you're going or not, but I'm going regardless. That was my favorite player growing up.
To Cooperstown?
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun trip. I would consider it.
And my first player shirt I ever bought with my own money was the CC Sabathia shirt in 5th grade, going into 5th grade. So I'm glad, like literally 2 days before 5th grade. So I'm so excited that they're both going in the same year, and they were teammates for a little bit on the New York Yankees. So I'm glad. I'm excited. And Billy Wagner was long overdue. He should have been first ballot Hall of Famer. The anti-reliever bias, the anti-closer bias is nonsense. Get rid of it. If you have 400 or more saves, you know this from last year when we had a different program that was only baseball, batting and chatting, RIP. And you know how I feel. 400 saves, you're in. That's my cutoff. I feel the same way about K-Rod, although K-Rod has like a little more of a personal off-field kind of connotation with him. But yeah. I mean, Billy Wagner should have been in. Should have been in.
Yeah, Billy Wagner should have been in for a long time. He's been on the ballot. This was his last year on the ballot, and especially 10 years. That's a long time. So to say that it was long overdue, he had the patience forever. So, like I said, I just think it was long overdue. And so, like I said, credit to his patience and waiting so long. So congratulations to him. And because he definitely deserved it. Definitely, for sure. It sucks he didn't get to win a World Series. He definitely should have did it in 06. Looking at his stats, I like to see that. Obviously, his last season, he was an all-star with Atlanta. He had over 37 saves, I believe. So I'm just saying, I think he had a great career. And especially, he was key for the Mets when they won their NL East title in 06. And like I said, they almost went to the World Series. So it's long overdue for him. Ichiro Suzuki, I definitely thought what a great story he has coming over from Japan. I feel like he has the most hits ever as a professional baseball player.
Yeah, because he did it in multiple leagues. Obviously, MLB and Japan combined. There's been an argument over the years I've seen to see the best contact hitter ever, him or Pete Rose. It's Ichiro. I don't even think it's an argument. He had 200 or more hits in 10 consecutive seasons, the most hits ever in one season. It's Ichiro, guys. Stop. It's Ichiro.
I feel like
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pete Rose was an excellent player. Guys, come on. Let's be realistic here. All right. Pitching has gotten way better. Way better. So I don't want to hear it. The 21st century pitching was way better than it was in the 1960s and 70s and 80s.
Just looking at Ichiro's stats, I think it's remarkable and insane. the type of hitter he was. Literally 10 straight seasons with 200 hits. And the fact that he's the first ever Japanese-born player to make it into the Hall of Fame, that's a huge achievement. It's enough by itself. And like I said, in terms of just the contact hitter and the player, like just the automatic hitter he was, you need someone at the plate. He probably was definitely one of the best, probably one of the perfect hitters ever. Wasn't a home run type hitter, but then again, like I said, the hits were there.
Yeah. I mean, he was incredible. He was incredible.
And
He was my favorite player growing up, like I said.
He only came to the MLB in like when he was 27.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm sorry, keep going.
And the thing about Ichiro is he played for forever and a day. He played forever. You know, he was in the league. You think of that, what you just said. He came into MLB at age 27. And everybody, his profile, a lot of people thought he was going to be like a fourth or fifth outfielder type and just be kind of like a fringe lineup guy, like a lefty, throw him in against righties, kind of a fringe guy. And he wound up playing till he was 45. Could you imagine if he came into the league when he was 22 or 20? Like the amount of sliding doors kind of, crossroads of Ichiro's career are insane. So I'm sorry, it's kind of got to cook for a second here. MVP, Rookie of the Year, same season. 10-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time Silver Slugger, 2-time batting title, All-Star Game MVP. The year he had the most hits ever in a season was 2004. He had 262 hits in the season. He played, I just want to be clear, 161 games in the season. He had 262 hits. All right. Finished 7th in MVP voting that year. So when people that are complaining about votes and stuff like that in baseball, 6 guys got voted ahead of him when he had 262 hits. He had almost more hits than, probably some of the guys that got votes that year combined, if you added them. I'm actually looking at certain players that got votes that year, and he actually did. So, like, I mean, he was good. He was incredible. So his last year, his first year was the 01 season, right?
Yes.
There were talks that at the time, I guess there were people that owned the Mariners or their scouting department. They were really big with Japan. Ken Griffey Jr.'s last year was 1999 with the Mariners. And supposedly there were talks of trying to get Ichiro in earlier. A-Rod's last year with the Mariners was 2000. Ichiro played 1 year for the Mariners in the playoffs, 01, the year they set the wins record, the regular season wins record.
Yeah.
They could have had Ken Griffey Jr. in center, Ichiro in right, A-Rod at shortstop. They could have had the best team of the 2000s, and they chose not to. Ken Griffey Jr. and A-Rod supposedly didn't get along. A-Rod was asking for a lot of money. Ken Griffey Jr. wanted to play for the Reds. He grew up a Reds fan. His dad was on the Reds. Whatever.
Yeah.
They could have had 3 of the best hitters of that generation at once. Then later on when he goes to the Yankees, and listen, we're going to be talking about the Sasaki thing, him going to the Dodgers. Going to be talking about super teams. How many teams could have had Ichiro? He's 38 years old. He goes to the Yankees. People think he's past his prime. And then for the Yankees, he bats .322 that year in 67 games. This is 2012. 13, he hits 262, probably the lowest average of his career to that point. Yeah. And then 284 the next year with the Yankees in 143 games. I weirdly felt like Joe Girardi didn't know how to use him either. It's just he was so good and so consistent for so long. I didn't even think he was leading off for the Yankees. I didn't even remember 20 stolen bases, 15 stolen bases with them, 14 stolen bases.
Now, Jeter always led off with them, right? He was led off
at that point in his career. I honestly don't know. I don't think so.
Because I don't know if Ichiro was able to. It sucks that he definitely was someone that deserved a ring, and especially 01 was the last time they went to the playoffs until recently, right? They recently broke that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That sucks.
They went 21 years without making the playoffs.
Looks like it could happen to the Jets. Hopefully not. Hopefully that changes.
Looks like it could happen to the Mariners again. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
2 batting titles.
But that's definitely crazy, though. The fact that they had Ken Griffey,
had all
A-Rod at one point. They had a lot of. It's like Seattle definitely has history of star players. It's just retaining them. It's the problem. But Ichiro stayed for a long time, though.
It was just the 90s, really. But you think about it. They let Randy Johnson go. They let A-Rod go. They let Ken Griffey Jr. go. They let Tino Martinez go. The only guy that really was a career Mariner was Edgar. That was it.
Not even Felix Hernandez?
Well, he's another one who they failed. They never put a winning team around him either, with Kyle Seager.
And Julio
in an AL West that at the time was not very good.
Who knows if Julio Rodriguez, hopefully he doesn't fall into that category next too.
I don't know. I didn't like what their front office guy said that time. I forget his name. He said, do you remember this?
I think I do.
Playoff teams, you win like 50. You just want to be like 500 for X amount of years or something like that statistically. So he didn't really care about not making the playoffs one year. And his fans were like, easy to say when, you're working for the team and you didn't have to live with this for 20 years and not making the playoffs. Because aside from the 90s, they've never had success, ever.
I definitely think, what was I going to say? Yeah, you definitely don't want to piss off your fan base, especially when they've been craving going to the playoffs for a long time. That's, you never want to criticize anything, especially about your fan base and about the team. I do remember that. The Bits don't care about making the playoffs. And that was pretty recent, right?
It was like 23.
Wow, yeah, no, so that'll do it. I remember that. I remember that story when it broke, actually. I do remember that. Yeah, no, it's just I forgot where I was gonna go with, but in terms of Ichiro, definitely sucks that his talent was wasted. I mean, a little bit, but still had a great career. Definitely well deserving of the Hall of Fame. I remember when he got 3,000 hits.
For the Marlins.
Yeah, that was for the Marlins too. I think I watched that too. Then I remember his last game. I'm pretty sure that was in Japan.
Yep.
It was at the start of 2019
against Oakland.
And after that was it. He just wanted to play two more games, and then he called it quits by then. Also, shout out to Cooper Friedman, a good friend of ours, a very good friend of ours. He's right now in the Academy for NYPD, so God bless him and hope he's safe. Hope he's feeling better from the flu too, because I know you had that. So I hope he's here. That's pretty not firing, but it's an inside joke. But I know he also said something to us that CC Sabathia shouldn't be a first. I don't know if he said he shouldn't be a first ballot or he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I think CC's definitely deserving. I know definitely Dennis is ready to go off. He's ready to cook.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
I let you take the floor. I mean, wait, hold on. Before I let you take the floor, I liked CC Sabathia for a while. I remember, even like I said, as a Mets fan growing up, I've always liked watching CC play. I thought he was a great pitcher, and for the Yankees for a long time. I never forget the story where he pitched off for like a few days rest for the Brewers in 08 and helped them end that drought of them not making the playoffs since like the 80s up until 2008. That was a very long time. So
Yeah.
definitely very well deserving of that, from CC. And then obviously, the Yankees Brian Cashman came calling. He signed with them, got the World Series championship with them, and became their ace for most of the 2010s, even along with Andy Pettitte. You think of that, two lefties like that in the same rotation. It's pretty crazy. Now, Dennis, I'm gonna let the floor go to you. I'm gonna let you cook the stir fry. I'm gonna let you cook. So, what is your? I mean, I know you said I know that's what Cooper was saying, but what do you think of that? With CC making the Hall of Fame.
19 players have had 3,000 strikeouts. CC Sabathia is one of them. Of those 19 players, 3 of them are left-handed. Steve Carlton, Randy Johnson, CC Sabathia. One of the very best left-handed pitchers of all time. 6-time All-Star, ALCS MVP, Cy Young winner, 2009 World Series winner. I mean, I don't know how he's not a Hall of Famer. 3.74 ERA. I think some mediocre seasons later on into his career kind of hurt him a bit.
He was battling.
Really, his peak was from 2003 to 2012. In that span, that age 22 to 31 span, he had a 47 WAR, 161 wins, 86 losses, 3.34 ERA, 317 games, 12 shutouts, 33 complete games, an ERA plus a 130 over, a 10-year span or so. So, I mean, that's a pretty good peak. He led the league in shutouts twice. Yeah, 2 in 06, 5 in 08. Led the league in complete games once, maybe twice. I don't know. Baseball Reference highlighted it, so it's kind of hard to tell. Led the league in wins twice, both times at the Yankees, 09 and 2010. But Milwaukee, I mean, that was the year he won the Cy Young Award in 08, and that year was incredible. I'm sorry, he actually didn't win the Cy Young Award that year. He won the Cy Young Award in 07 with Cleveland. He won the year he was with Milwaukee. He actually didn't get any Cy Young votes. I guess it's because he was only in the National League for half the season. So he maybe didn't qualify. I don't know. But I'm kind of surprised he didn't get a single vote. That doesn't seem right at all. Regardless, I mean, I kind of think the record speaks for itself.
Okay.
I get it. If somebody wants to say he's a compiler, I understand it. I just don't think he is. I think he had a 19-year career and was really good in it. He also had a lot of injuries later on in his career. He's been public about it, so it's not like I'm shaming the guy. No. He had a public battle with like alcoholism and stuff like that.
Battling with that.
And so that really dipped into his numbers, to be honest. I remember he started to get hurt around that 2013 range. And his ERA, it kind of takes a hit. Like 2014, he had a 5.28 ERA, the largest of his career, but he only had 8 games played, and he was hurt. So, like, there's little things like that I think hurts it. But he ended okay. I mean, at age 37, 3.65 ERA in 2018. Not bad. And the postseason stats are obviously all really good, too, for the most part.
Right.
It's series-based, unfortunately. So sometimes you get blown up, but you only had one bad start or 2 bad starts in a series.
He did play for a long time, though. That was definitely, like I said, well deserved.
Most strikeouts ever by a lefty. And behind Randy Johnson and Steve Carlton. Those are inner circle Hall of Famers. Those are like top 15 pitchers ever.
Right. So he definitely was deserving. Was this his first
Yeah,
time on the ballot or no? It was his
yeah,
second.
first ballot. He became
That's
the
pretty,
17th first ballot starting pitcher to make it into the Hall of Fame.
that's pretty
And I actually
remarkable.
do have that list. I don't know if you want to play a little game of guessing it or not. Guessing some of the names on here
Yes. Go
for
ahead.
you to guess all the 17 names.
Definitely Randy Johnson.
That's one.
Um. Okay, give me a decade. Like of any of the players.
I could give you when they're inducted. It doesn't really give me a decade. Some of these players I know the decade, some of them don't.
Can you
Some of them are like early baseball.
really early? Okay, I don't know if I could give you that much. I might have to tap out on that.
All right. Well, all right. So I'll do the ones you should know. 90s and 2000s.
Okay.
This is their career, not their induction.
Can you give me a team?
All right. I'll tell you what. There's one, two, three Mets on here.
It's not John Franco.
No. Starting pitchers.
Starting pitchers.
Not lefties, regular starting pitchers. Maybe that's what you're.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is David Cohn on there?
No, not a Hall of Famer. Should be. Stupid that he's not.
He should be.
I don't know. There's a strong bias against 80s pitchers. I don't know why.
I wish it was Doc Gooden. Doc Gooden should be on there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
3 Mets. Damn, that's tough.
Three
90s,
Mets.
2000s.
Oh, well, one of them is from the 90s and 2000s.
Pedro Martinez?
Yep, you got it.
All right, there's one of them.
So there's two. You got Johnson and Pedro, obviously the 17th to CC.
And
So the two Mets had their peak. One of them in the 60s, 70s. The other one in the 60s.
Was Tom Glavine, was he a lefty?
Oh, I forgot he was on the Mets. You got him. No, this isn't just lefties. This is lefties and righties.
And righties. Okay, sorry. I wish Alida was. Mike Hampton was a lefty too, right? I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Not a Hall of Famer. Not even close.
No, he's not. No. I'm gonna have to tap out.
These are both righties. These Mets from the 60s. You definitely know them.
Tom Seaver.
That's one.
That's one. How could I not get that?
Up until Ken Griffey Jr., the highest, the most unanimous Hall of Fame vote getter.
Greg Maddux.
Yeah, he's on there.
He's on there. Greg Maddux is on there. John Smoltz.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay. How did I get that sooner?
One of them, controversially, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, Blue Jays, but I think you might know him better as a Philly.
Would it not even on the Twins? Jack Morris?
No. Later. This is a guy that we definitely grew up playing.
Roy Halladay.
Yeah.
We grew up with him, yep. So there you go. See, this is good. I do know.
Yeah, you're heating up. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 already. One of them you should definitely have. One of them was a former Met. Won a World Series with the Mets. Never won a World Series again.
Let me cook.
Had his best years away from the Mets. This is a gimme, Brandon. Never won a Cy Young.
Oh, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
That was much of a gimme because you didn't say which World Series. That was as much as a gimme of anything. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we've talked about it plenty about Nolan Ryan, that he was a pitcher that once he got out of the market, the New York market, he went to Anaheim and then Houston, Texas.
Yeah,
that's where his potential really flourished. And it sucks it didn't translate with the Mets. Imagine what would have happened if he came on the Mets and I don't know if I'm sure Tom Seaver definitely would have still been, Tom Seaver, but can you imagine though?
I forget what it was because Nolan Ryan, I forget who it was, when he went to the Angels, somebody, and I think it was a former player. I'm probably wrong. I think it might have been Burt Blyleven. I'm probably wrong, but somebody who's like a legit name turned his career around and helped him. I don't think it's Burt Blyleven. I'm just saying it, but
There's a documentary on
But yeah, he turned his career around. And then Nolan Ryan, years later, did the same thing for Randy Johnson. He like turned his career around
why does
when he went to Seattle.
Nolan
Because he
Ryan?
was on the West Coast and Nolan Ryan worked out with him and helped him and showed him like what to do.
I don't know why Nolan
Because they
Ryan.
were both like effectively wild, like flame throwing pitchers. And Nolan Ryan was like, listen, man, this is what you got to do.
I don't know why he doesn't just be a coach.
Funny. Nolan Ryan?
Yeah.
Because he's like 80, 86.
Was he
he's
ever?
like a Rangers part-time owner or something like that.
Oh, I think he is.
Yeah. So is George Bush Jr.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
another guy on here, lefty, who I just mentioned, not in this exact topic, but the other lefty to have 3,000 strikeouts.
Oh, the lefty?
Yeah. This guy is mostly known for the Phillies 80s, 70s. Lefty. Some opinions. I think that's a big reason why Time's forgotten him. A lot of off-field antics. Not known for being good with the media. But his last name is the first name from a character from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Carlton?
Yeah, Steve Carlton.
Wow.
And then the other ones, I would guess. There's one not on here. Cy Young. Not on here. Kind of weird.
It's weird. He wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer? What?
Yeah, I commented Cy Young wasn't, and I got 18 likes. But I never had it.
But either way, congrats to CC Sabathia. I wonder how that ranks in terms of Yankee pitchers. Where do you think that ranks?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
the other ones to round out the list: Jim Palmer, Bob Gibson, Warren Spahn, Sandy Koufax, Bob Feller, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson.
That's an elite list.
Yeah, Christy Mathewson and Walter Johnson were in the inaugural class in 1936.
I feel like that's definitely an elite list for sure, in terms of, especially as a Yankee. For him, CC, to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, especially to be on that list of pitchers who are first ballot, that's pretty huge, in my opinion. So, credit for making,
And there's only two Yankees pitchers on there, him and Randy Johnson. Nobody else pitched for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Best pitchers to pitch on the Yankees? Yes, he'd be in my rotation. Best pitcher while on the Yankees? No, he would not. I would have, gun to my head, I could actually just look because I had it. We almost did this years ago on another program. All-time Yankees, all-time Astros, all-time Mets teams.
Right.
And my all-time Yankees teams, oh God, I got to go deep into my notes for this one. I haven't looked at it in forever and a day. Blah, 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 blah.
We'll find that out quick.
All right. I would say Andy Pettit, David Cohn, Whitey Ford, Red Ruffing. And maybe CC, now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe Roger Clemens.
Yeah, I was going to say no Roger Clemens.
You know what? No, I would have CC over Garrett Cole.
I feel like it's too early to tell about Garrett Cole, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't won. I can't think of any Yankee starter in the 80s who I'd put. And in the 70s, I really don't know like who their aces were at the time, to be honest.
It's crazy. Roger Clemens played too. He's 44.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's insane to me.
And shout out to Billy Wagner getting him. We spent so much time on CC and him. Yeah, but we spent so much time on Billy Wagner on other shows over the years with his Hall of Fame candidacy that I think I don't know if I'm speaking for both of us or not, but I think he was long overdue. I'll read the stats off, but I am also kind of over it at the same time because we spent so much time on him over the years. .231 career ERA, 422 saves, 1,196 strikeouts, 7-time All-Star, reliever of the year award. In a time, and people might say he's only had one reliever of the year award. How is he a Hall of Famer? This is a time Trevor Hoffman was doing in the National League. Eric Gagne had the consecutive saves record and was getting MVP votes. It might have actually won the MVP, if I'm not mistaken. Or gotten like second place or something. This is a different time. No, Gagne never won the MVP. Just so you know.
7-time All-Star. Like I said, started his career with Houston back in 5. And then obviously spent a couple years with Philly. And then obviously in 06 when he went to the Mets, he definitely left a mark in his career for them. And, making the All-Star twice in 07 and 08. And then obviously his last year in the league was with Atlanta, where he had 37 saves compared to the year before. Injuries kind of almost derailed the last kind of bit of his career, but then he came back and pitched amazing. So, like I said, I feel like what kept him in a long time was definitely not getting a World Series.
So I was able to find it because I couldn't leave the audience hanging on. I did find my Yankees all-time list, and I really combed over it at the time. Whitey Ford, Andy Pettitte, Don Larson, Ron Guidry, CC Sabathia. I think I'd have Red Ruffing over Don Larson, but Don Larson, perfect game in the World Series to seal it. Kind of hard to go against it. But yeah. I had Aroldis Chapman in the bullpen. Wow.
Yeah, but either way, good for I think
good for that.
The Hall. So you said you would go to Cooperstown?
Definitely. Oh, I'm definitely going. I was just texting one of my buddies trying to go.
I would come if you'd want me to come. I would come to Cooperstown.
Yeah, go ahead. It'll be me and Tony.
See Billy Wagner and just I've never been to Cooperstown, so I feel like that'd be fun.
Never. I went when I was in middle school. I went a little before or after Frank Thomas and Mike Piazza got inducted that year. Whatever year that was. I want to say it was 14 or 13.
2016, actually. We were in high school.
Whoa, what?
Mike Piazza was inducted in 2016.
Then I'm thinking of Frank Thomas.
Trust me, she'll like it too.
Yeah, it was 2014. It wasn't Mike Piazza. It was just Frank Thomas. I want to know who else was with him.
I think that was the year with Ken Griffey.
Well, this was a loaded year. Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Frank Thomas, Joe Torre as manager, Bobby Cox as a manager, Tony La Russa as a manager.
That's a big class.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm definitely let me know when you want to go to Cooperstown. And
that'll be then.
I'll use some vacation time. Well, that's a weekend. I guess we'll come home on a Monday, I guess. I don't know. Figure it out. I'm going to say, but I know. So we talked a lot about the MLB first part of the show. Still waiting on Pete Alonso to see when he's going to re-sign with the Mets. I know they're talking about Vlad Guerrero, but now the Toronto Blue Jays are now focused on signing him back to an extension instead of focusing on Pete Alonso. So that if they sign Vlad to a huge extension and Pete Alonso to the Blue Jays, that's off the table. Besides that, but then they did sign Anthony Santander, the Blue Jays, to a 5-year, $90 million deal. So I don't know where else Pete Alonso thinks he's going to go, but they said that he's still on the table. But at the same time, how you also going to be able to afford, Vlad Guerrero. So the thing with the Mets, and it's good that they're taking their stance. I like it, and here's why. Like I said, I love Pete Alonso. Great guy, homegrown talent, 2-time home run derby champ. Leads every Mets franchise record for hits as an offensive player. He's got it. He can easily break the home run record, too. He's almost there. I know Darryl Strawberry is definitely sweating just knowing that could be broken. But like I said, just at the same time, not that he's progressing, but he's not. I don't feel like Pete Alonso is that feared of a hitter as much as he used to be. And I'm not trying to shade him, but you look at the stats. He turned down before the 2023 season 7 years, 158 million, right? And now it's definitely perfectly warranted for the time. He was coming off a great 2022 season. And then obviously the next 2 years, his average kind of dipped a little bit down. His OPS was not the same. The home runs obviously were there, yes, but at the same time, you know, the production wasn't really quite there, and especially as he's coming up in there in age. So it's like, the Mets are afraid to give him a long-term extension for that reason. For a player who they think is slumping, but is still a great player, and then obviously coming of age, why are they going to want to commit to a long-term deal like that? Now, I would love to have him back, like I said, because he's still a, homegrown talent and definitely a clubhouse guy. And like I said, he's still a great offensive player. But it's got to be the right price for the Mets, and I'm glad that they're not budging. But it just sucks because, this has just been dragged out way too long. It's almost going to be February, Dennis. Pitchers and catchers are going to come right around the corner. So I don't know with Pete Alonso. This better get wrapped up soon. That's my take on that. I got no ice and I got no Sprite.
Listen, you know how I feel about the Pete Alonso thing. You guys should have extended him a long time ago.
We've talked about this so many times, especially on Bad and Bad.
Oh my gosh, we'd spend like 40 minutes an episode on it. Sign Pete Alonso already. I don't know if you want to make this a breakout clip. Sign it. Sign him. I'm done. I'm done with it. Like, I think he's getting bad representation. I do. He's never going to see this. Pete, you're getting bad representation. But I also think the Mets have to realize and read the temperature of their fan base. Aside from getting Juan Soto, they've done nothing this offseason.
Well, they did recently sign Alex Minter. They brought back Jesse Winker.
Great. Alex Minter. Great, Brandon. Great.
Back Manaea.
Brandon, how many Alex Minter jerseys and shirts are you going to see at Citi Field?
It's at the end of the day, it's
AJ Minter.
It is a business. It is a business. I get it, but at the same time, they're trying to build a roster. Either way, I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought a lot of Jose Iglesias, oh my God, jerseys were going to sell. You look at that,
right, but
I know what you're saying, but I like the move though. It's a great move for the bullpen. Sure, they didn't get Tanner Scott, which the Dodgers somehow got. And that's another story. We're going to get into that later, but I don't know. I like the move, and they do need to make more moves. I like that they brought back Jesse Winker, and I don't know if they're going to wait for the trade deadline or maybe some other moves, but like I said, this is why I hate the MLB offseason. It's so slow.
Who are you going to acquire at the trade deadline? That's a legitimate question. If Jesse Winker doesn't pan out as a first baseman, I guess they're thinking they can DH Juan Soto. I think that's their thinking because he's a sieve in the outfield at Citi Field. He was when the Yankees played the Mets, he was horrible out there. When he was on the Nationals, he was horrible out there. We know it. We all know it. We don't need evidence. I don't think he's going to magically turn into Andy Chavez overnight. All right, fine. DH him. And if you want to save money by bringing Jesse Winker back, that's fine too. But it's not like Jesse Winker is a guarantee to be some stud. Right?
Right.
And I was high on Jesse Winker when you guys got him. I liked it. Since last year, I have not been wrong about the Mets once. The only time I was wrong was when I said last year they're going to win the World Series. That was it. Everything else I've been, me, Brandon, everything else I've said has been completely right so far. Even thinking you guys were going to get Juan Soto. You got to get Alonso back. Heed my warning.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, it's, I think the more I hear it, they said that they're expecting him to sign elsewhere. The Mets are fed up. They're like, hey, we're done. We're not waiting anymore. But I think at the end of the day, I think they're going to come to a resolution. Maybe you probably want another, a short-term deal with opt-outs, and, we'll see. But, it just sucks because that's how, I think they're coming to a resolution. But enough with the Pete Alonso talk. I feel like we definitely covered that. At the end of the day, my prediction, I think he will sign back with the Mets in some way. They'll find a way. And
3 years, $75 million done.
Sounds like
mutual option for a fourth year at $100 million. fourth year for another 25. Done. Nice and easy. Take him till his mid-30s. If he still wants to play baseball, he can shop around somewhere else or come back for a cheaper deal. Done.
You should say that to
no brainer.
David Stearns.
No brainer.
Now we got to get to the Dodgers real quick, man. This is definitely a problem.
Paper champion.
You know, why does everybody feel the need to sign with the Dodgers? I don't understand it.
Paper champion.
Like, do they know they're automatically going to get a ring? Is it in the script that the Dodgers are the 2025 World Series champions? Like, you know, or do the Dodgers just have unlimited money in that they're willing to pay whatever these players want, especially getting Roki? Like, how many pitchers do they have? And this is even without Kershaw, who's coming up there in age.
They have like 15 or 20 MLB pitchers. They always get hurt. They run them into the ground. So on the one hand, it makes sense for them. On the other hand, the league almost stepped in and vetoed Aaron Judge going to the Padres. Supposedly, the Padres wanted to offer him a 14-year contract, and the league supposedly stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. Meanwhile, the Dodgers could put together a super team. And now I know everybody's going to say, Dennis, you Yankees shill. This is what the Yankees used to do. No.
Are you sure?
No. And here's why.
Okay.
The 90s and 2000s, who are the best players on those Yankees team? A washed-up Darryl Strawberry that everybody else gave up on. Derek Jeter, who came up through the system. A washed-up Dwight Gooden, who everybody else gave up on. Andy Pettit, who came up through the system. Bernie Williams, who came up through the system. Didn't call him Bernie Sanders. Mariano Rivera, who came up through the Yankee system. Jorge Posada, who came up through the Yankees system. Paul O'Neill, who was okay. He was like a good fringe all-star, and the Yankees saw potential in him. Roger Clemens, fine. I'll give it to you. David Cone, fine. I'll give it to you. David Cone also went to the Yankees in 1995 and was their first big free agent signing. So, no, it's not the same to build that 90s dynasty. Tino Martinez was a really good baseball player. I don't think anybody at the time was crying because they lost Tino Martinez. The Mariners did. They shouldn't have lost him. But, you know, as far as other small market teams whining and complaining, the Guardians back then, Cleveland, had a loaded team. A loaded team. If you looked at that roster top to bottom. Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, Alomar, Octavio Dotel out of the pen. Like you had old, washed up Oral Hershiser who turned back the clock and won a ALCS MVP with them. Like you had another team that was loaded. All right. What about other teams? The Orioles, same kind of profile. Same kind of profile. You had an older Cal Ripken Jr., I think Eddie Murray was still on the team at the time in the late 90s. This was, I guess, 98, I'm thinking, 1998. Albert Bell they had around that time, who was also Cleveland at one point. You had other teams that had talent on them, but you had a lot of teams that were just letting their talent go, that weren't getting into bidding wars and weren't trying to retain players. Oh, when the Yankees got Kevin Brown, that's great. They took him from the Marlins, who haven't spent a dime on a free agent since Moby Dick was a guppy. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. The Dodgers spent a deferred $700 million contract on a player. Right? That's how much Ohtani wound up going for. Then you get Sasaki. You already got Yamamoto, so you have the three Japanese guys. All right. On the one hand, I understand birds of a feather flock together. Fine. It's who they're comfortable around. You already have Freddie Freeman, who you signed for $1 billion practically. You already extended Mookie Betts because the Red Sox are idiots. So that I'm actually not counting Mookie Betts because that's the old Yankee thing. All right, if you're going to give your player away for the bag of Qdoba chips I was eating before we started recording, that's your problem, not mine. Like Napoleon Bonaparte said, when your opponent makes a mistake, don't interrupt them. Fine. Red Sox are morons. I'll give it to you. Everything else, and now you got Tanner Scott, one of the best relievers in the game. Do I think he's overrated? Yeah. But they got him.
Yeah, I know he was talking to the Mets.
And you got Teoscar Hernandez back. They literally have too much talent for their roster.
I just feel like at the same time, they could have so many players. They were just stacked for for the whole 20s. And it's crazy to say that. The whole 2020s, not 1920s. I feel like the Dodgers have been stacked for a long time, but they only really have done something till this year. And that was, beating the Yankees in the World Series because they've always they get upset. They always choke in the NLDS to not below average teams, but like the underdog teams, like the Nationals in 19, the Diamondbacks in 23. And I don't really think they did anything in 22. But you know what I'm saying? So you could have so much talent at the end of the day. That's in my opinion. At the end of the day, you could have so much talent, but if you're not going to do anything with it, then what's the point? So, not to say that I'm not afraid of the Dodgers, but but at the same time, like in baseball, I feel like you just never know. You got to show up when it matters most. And this year, it was their year. They just played like a well-rounded ball club, and they just they were champions at the end of the day. So, like I said, they're definitely way better than last year. It's scary. I just don't understand it's the new norm now to go to the Dodgers. It used to be the Yankees. Now it's the Dodgers, and the Mets are trying to emulate that too. They're trying to be the West Coast Dodgers now.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying about them trying to be the East Coast Dodgers. But you said the West Coast. But I just don't understand. Like, riddle me this, Batman. How come there's a Steve Cohen tax? Supposedly the Padres were almost blocked from getting Aaron Judge, but the Dodgers could build a super team.
It's weird. You should ask Rob Manfred that question.
I would love to ask him that question and a whole bunch of other questions. Probably never going to happen.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. But I would love to ask him.
But like I said, at the end of the day, like I said, you could build a super team all you want, but like I said, when it matters most, when it comes to the postseason, the better team's going to win. So, like I said, not to say I'm not afraid of them, but the Dodgers are known for choking. So,
right,
that's my take on that.
I mean, really, the Yankees were 2 innings away from going to the Dodger Stadium up 3-2, even with them having that super team.
Well, I think they you can't forget about that fifth inning.
That's what I'm saying, the fifth inning, and then they blew game one.
Yeah, that's
so you're 2 innings away from going to the world, being up 3-2 in the World Series. Now, I understand when you start doing that, well, then this could have been different, that could have been different. All right, fine. But I'm not Doctor Strange. I can't see 900 different realities and timelines at once. So for argument's sake, it's stupid. Because you know what's going to happen? Now they're going to have a salary ceiling, a salary cap. We shouldn't have a salary cap in baseball. It should be a salary floor. You know what's caused this? Other teams not trying. That's what's caused this. The other teams are fine. Maybe it could be 500 and sneak into the playoffs. You never know what happens. It's a crapshoot. That's the problem. Am I mad that all the best players are going to the Dodgers? Yeah. Am I mad that none of them are going to the Yankees? Yeah. But when you look at other teams that have billion-dollar payrolls, or billion-dollar bankrolls, rather, like the Blue Jays, and they're not even close on some of these deals, that's when you have a problem. Because you have a team like the Blue Jays, and it's like, well, they just signed Anthony Santander. They just had to overpay drastically for Anthony Santander. How much is he making a year? $40 million? He's like a $30 million player at best. But they have to make sure he doesn't leave. I mean, they are trying to put together their roster on with spit and glue. Their best bet, the Blue Jays, is to trade Vlad Guerrero Jr. That's their bet. That's their best option. But my God, when a team like the Blue Jays isn't even close to putting together a winning roster, when a team like the Giants are constantly coming in second place, when a team like the Red Sox, well, the Red Sox, they just have horrible ownership. But you have some of these other teams that try to put together a winning roster and just can't. Because a team like the Dodgers just comes in and says, you know what, we'll just double it. Whatever they're giving him, double it. Steve Cohen has the most money of any MLB owner. We know that. The Dodgers are a conglomerate of Steve Cohens. You can have your Steve Cohen. That's fine. Do you see how much Magic Johnson's worth? Do you know who some of the other Dodgers owners are and how much they're worth? You have your super billionaire, we'll take our 20 super billionaires.
But didn't the Dodgers in the early 2010s, didn't they have like problems with money?
Yep. And then they sold the team to a conglomerate with Magic Johnson being the big name.
Yeah.
And Billie Jean King, too. Who knew that she owned the Dodgers? Go figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just could throw money at people all they want. And they do the classic Yankee thing, like when the Yankees acquired Jose Canseco. It's not that they needed him. It's that they didn't want any other team to get him because he was notoriously a Yankee killer. They have like 30 pitchers. They don't need them.
All right. But yeah, no. But like I said,
I'm ready to talk football.
We'll see what happens. But, hey, Dennis cooked. So
yeah, I can't. I just can't take it anymore.
We'll let you cook.
It's the stupid other teams. It's the teams like the Tigers and the Royals and the Marlins last year who make the playoffs and say, let's run it back when everybody and their mother knows your team's not good enough.
You know what? In terms of that, I think I know who. I think the bumper sandwich of the week, I think it definitely goes to all the MLB owners and the MLB teams.
Yeah!
Who are letting the Dodgers just run all over them and saying, hey, Kirby Yates, hey, you're a Dodger. Roki Soroki, if I say his name right.
I saw Sasaki pitch live.
Sasaki.
And Yamamoto. Yeah. I've seen both of them pitch live.
You're a Dodger.
When I was in Miami.
Freddie Freeman, you're a Dodger. Blake Snell, you're a Dodger. So to all the MLB owners, this is the bumper sandwich. You're the bumper sandwich of the week.
We did it, Rimshot. We got it. I am Troll Fighter #1. Rimshot. I don't believe it, Rimshot. He's pulling against 200 horsepower. I put it in reverse. How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips?
So yes, that's the bumper sandwich of the week. The MLB owners who are letting the Dodgers run right all over them. Like I said, shout out to Ernest Scared, whatever that movie is called. It is from the Ernest franchise, so I want to give credit to them. Just we don't get any copyright infringement, whatever you call it. Yeah. But yes, that's from the Ernest movies. Rest in peace to Jim Varney, great comedian, who was the Slinky Dog in Toy Story.
Dude, you know what always stands out to me about that clip?
What?
That guy's got like freaking catcher mitts for hands. They're huge.
Maybe he was a pitcher. Maybe Jim Varney was a pitcher.
Who knows? My gosh.
But either way, like I said,
we still got like another hour left of just football playoffs.
I'm down for it. But like I said, shout out to the Ernest movie franchise. I never watched them as a kid, but I came across that clip, and I don't know why. Something about it was just obviously, like I said, him hitting the troll was not obviously, like I'm saying, obviously we don't recommend that at all. But it's just I don't know. It's an interesting clip, but like I said, the bumper sandwich of the week goes to the MLB owners. But now let's get into football. Um, wow, just the Commanders. Who would have known? I said it in the football chat, Dennis. You saw it. I said it. The Commanders. Watch out for them because they're gonna. I didn't think they were gonna win, but I knew they were gonna put up a good fight against Detroit. So I feel like this definitely it woke up the Detroit Lions, if anything, because wow, they really probably had their heads over heels for a long time now. Obviously, they beat, the Vikings. They finally got the number 1 seed, probably for the first time ever in franchise history. They get the bye. So they're feeling great. Everyone has them going to the Super Bowl. I had them going to the Super Bowl. I had it Lions, Bills. Boy, was I wrong. Now I got it as Commanders, Bills. Knock on this table. Hopefully I'm not wrong. And, yeah, like I said, Jaden Daniels is him. I remember the last time a rookie quarterback made it to the NFC, a championship game, made it this far. Just seeing how he's
Brock
been.
Purdy.
Oh, what?
Brock Purdy was the last to do it.
Oh yeah, he was one of the last, and then it was Mark Sanchez.
Sean
But
King,
I
Joe
don't think I've
Flacco,
seen,
and Ben
I don't,
Roethlisberger.
yeah, I don't think I've seen a rookie quarterback, play as elite as Jaden Daniels has been. He's been playing like he's been in the league for like 5 or 10 years. People have him already as the next Mahomes. So shout out to him. Shout out to Dan Quinn. Shout out to the Josh Harris new ownership for the Bills. Not the Bills, the Redskins / Commanders. Formerly Redskins, now Commanders. My apologies for that. As the turnaround that the Commanders had should be studied because everything they've done from the top of that organization to Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, they put together a great. The roster is great. Some people don't say it's not, but I think it is. Still got Bobby Wagner, who's still playing at a great level. Terry McLaurin finally has the quarterback that he's been dying to have for a long time. So I have them beating the Eagles this weekend, and so I just think they played a great game. They outplayed Detroit, outcoached them, and they outthought them, outsmarted them. They are, as Dennis Green once said, rest in peace to him. They are who they thought they were, and Detroit now caught the better end of it. They now, yeah, like I said, I think Detroit got a little bit too in their heads. The Commanders were just coming red hot. They're just a better team that showed up, and I think Detroit paid the price. Now, does it reflect on the coaching staff? I don't think it should. It's a team effort. So, like I said, in terms of Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, getting jobs, I don't think the loss should be too much on them. But like I said, I definitely thought it was just a collective effort. Jared Goff did not play a great game. He did not play a good game at all. Now, I definitely think he got concussed at the end of the half on that pick six, so I definitely think that had an effect on his play. But like I said, I thought the Commanders were just a better team, and so I'm not shocked they won it. People were telling me, I think it was our friend Mikey, he's like, Detroit's going to run the floor, mop the floor with the Commanders. So I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think it's going to be a tight game, but I said Detroit was going to win it. Now, at the end of the day, the Commanders now, they're the ones in an NFC championship game for the first time since 1991. And now they ended the losing streak, losing the longest streak without going to a championship title game for a long time. The Dallas Cowboys now hold that streak. So Dallas Cowboys take these 2 L's. And so, yeah, just that was a great game. And I want to talk about. But Dennis, what are your thoughts just coming out from that game?
I'm heartbroken. The Lions have been my little brother team over the last couple of years. I was heartbroken. Did I cry a little bit? No. But I was, I was mad. I'm happy the Commanders, because you know what it is, man? The Commanders, they've been such a long-suffering franchise. Because people don't realize or forget, in the 70s and 80s, they were like a gold standard franchise. They had a lot of success. They may not have won a lot of Super Bowls, but they were constantly in the dance, constantly, making the playoffs or almost making the playoffs. Like they had success.
Right.
And then obviously the Joe Thiesman injury kind of set them back a little bit, but then they won afterwards. Like they made some good runs, and the only team to have an MVP kicker, Mark Mosley, in the lockout year. So it was a strike year. I can't tell if that was a bang in my house or your house, but like, yeah, like I feel bad for years.
Yeah,
I mean, basically the
Detroit-
entire 21st century, they've been like a joke. They've had some good years here and there. Don't get me wrong. There was the year Taylor Heineke. They actually looked really good with Taylor Heineke that year. I was like, oh, maybe this guy was a diamond in the rough. Didn't pan out. The RG3 years. Kirk Cousins at time looked like a good player. Not, the best player in the league, but good. Good enough to win games.
Right.
And unfortunately, they just couldn't get anything to really stick. And now it looks like they have somebody to build around. Jaden Daniels is excellent. Before I anoint him the second Mahomes or anything like that, I do want to say we see these kinds of breakouts a lot and then regressions. Deshaun Watson had it. CJ Stroud. And I'm sure us and all of our viewers and listeners or whatever could think of a bunch more. But the difference between him and all those other rookies to start in a conference championship, and once again, that was Sean King for the 99 Buccaneers, Big Ben for the Steelers, Mark Sanchez for the Jets, Joe Flacco for the Ravens, and Brock Purdy for the 49ers. I don't think I'm missing anybody there. The difference between those teams and him is he's the catalyst for his team winning. Those guys had good defenses or elite playmakers, right? Like Brock Purdy. He's the catalyst. He's the tip of the spear. And I just want to shout out my guy real quick because he's a Commanders fan and going to draft. He was saying, I really hope the Bears take Caleb Williams. I want Jaden McDaniels. He's the best player in the draft. And he kept saying he's the best player in the draft. He's the best player in the draft.
I like Jaden Daniels.
I was like, what happens if you guys take Drake May? He's like, we all regret it. So he was right.
You could definitely tell it was definitely franchise alternating moves during draft night, and the Commanders obviously made the right one.
Yeah.
Made the right one. I like Jaden Daniels coming out of LSU. He threw for like 50 touchdowns. He was coming off a Heisman type year. So why else wouldn't you want him? He went to ASU. It didn't work out. Then he went to LSU. He revived his career, became a different player. I don't know what it is. For some reason, LSU now is the breeding ground for quarterbacks. So good, good for them. Joe Burrow, now Jaden Daniels. Definitely not Jamarcus Russell. But like I said, just good for them. And so, like I said, I think Detroit, hopefully they look at this, they reflect, and they come back next year and they do better. I don't think they should reflect too much on Jared Goff. Some of our friends were like, or some of our friends were talking that, Jared Goff has to get cut. Like, you see the year he had? Are you kidding me? You're going to want to cut him after the... I get it. It was not a great playoff game. I get that. But he had a great year. And they were 15-2 for a reason. Now, back actually to the Commanders. I want to actually shout out our good friend James Saldo. Because he actually... A lot, he did know some people he met through the NFL world. I don't want to say names. But he did say that, like, someone he talked to, he said they had Jaden Daniels high on the draft board too. So you could tell Jaden Daniels was a big popular favorite among the NFL league, among the NFL world coming up to the draft. So the Commanders obviously they had the second pick. It worked out in their benefit. So good for them.
Yeah.
Now, with the other games, now to the Chiefs and the Texans, it's got to stop. It's enough. I've had enough with the referees and their favoritism towards the Chiefs. I get it. The Chiefs are a very talented team. Not denying that. I love Travis Kelce. He's a Revenge of the Buddy alumni in our fantasy league. I love Patrick Mahomes. I love the story, and I just think he was definitely one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. And obviously, Andy Reid, well-respected head coach. And the defense on Kansas City is very elite. Now, the favoritism with the refs has to stop. I get it. And they're not even hiding it. You know it's bad when Troy Aikman even came out during the broadcast. He's like, come on now. He's like, come on. And he was fed up with it. And so was I. I was cursing as much as I can when that roughing to the, I think, unnecessary roughness, he didn't even hit Mahomes. He collided to his own player. It's just a shame because they're not even hiding it, Dennis. And it's just bad because I don't even think it was like this for Brady. So to say that, actually, and I don't know. I don't want, it says like, I mean, I love Josh Allen, but obviously I don't want the Bills, obviously, because like I said, they're my division rival. So it sucks. You know what? I hope whoever makes it in the NFC, they destroy either one of the teams, whether it's going to be the Eagles or the Commanders. I hope it's the Commanders. I wouldn't mind if it's Philly, just for the sake of Saquon. But in terms of the Texans, I feel bad for the Texans because they actually played a great game. And they didn't even have Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, who shattered his leg. I hope he has a good quick recovery. So they played a great game. CJ Stroud was getting banged up left and right. Took like 8 sacks, I believe. So, I definitely thought it, they kept it in despite the referees also having a helping hand. But yeah, what do you think on that game, quick?
I think you said it very well and eloquently. You never want people to be talking about your sporting event because of the referees. Referees are there to be seen and not heard. And it was clear that the fix was on, so to speak. That referee, that crew chief, right? Do they call it crew chief or umpire?
Yeah,
I forget the head honcho.
Crew chief.
The Chiefs are undefeated in the Mahomes era with that guy as the crew chief.
Really?
The NFL's Scott Foster, some people have said. You never want to be compared to Scott Foster. Trust me, I'm a Suns fan. Dude. It was horrible. And usually I, more so than other people, I'm a kill the refs guy. I think that we need to let defenses play defense and stuff like that. And my dad was like, you are always whining about the refs. He's like, look at the replay. So he picked his head up and he was like, yeah, that's horrible. And by the end, he was just as much kill the refs as I was. And evidently as much as Troy Aikman was.
Obviously not.
And I like, by the way, when Troy Aikman, he gets fired up. He gets revved up. I like that. He's not a shill.
Yeah.
And speaking of shills, when the ref shills that they bring in, like, hey, we're going to go to Gene Sanator or whatever the other guy's name is to talk about these rules, they always side with the refs. When even they're like, this one's beyond me. That's how you know. That's how you know the fix is on. The fix is on. The fix is on. Oh, no. Okay.
Make it a good. All I'm asking is just make it a fair game because it'd be totally. It just sucks because if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'd be furious because basically everyone's saying your team doesn't deserve to be where they are.
They're paper champions.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's what it is. I don't know if it's the NFL.
Don't even say Taylor Swift because I know you're one of those people. That's because of Taylor Swift. It's because of Emperor Palpatine. That's why.
Oh, don't give me. You got to.
She's the invisible hand moving all the chess pieces.
I got to talk about that for just 10 seconds. I definitely think some games were fixed because of it. Not.
Oh, here we go.
Maybe that was more of last year. I don't think it's well. It's just like I said. Just because they do something, they don't always need to show Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce gets a touchdown. Oh, there's Taylor Swift. What did she do? She did nothing. I don't care. What does it matter? Even Bill Belichick even said it.
Oh, but when it's Caitlin Clark, you're all hard eyes, Brandon.
Now, Caitlin Clark is a different story. Now, but Taylor Swift, not Caitlin. But okay, even that with Caitlin Clark, sure. My Italian queen, sure. It's same thing. Like
I don't even know if she can spell Parmesan.
Like I said,
Italian queen. Give me a break.
But like I said, same thing. Caitlin Clark, we get it. She's there. Taylor Swift, we get it. What? Oh no, my Alexa heard me. But so But no, like I said, I don't know. It's definitely interesting to see what's going to go on for the next game, for the championship games. But obviously, I know the Bills Ravens game, that was a good game. I forgot what it was, but the Mark Andrews, poor guy, definitely, definitely, he's not going to let that drop go for the rest of the year. So that definitely sucks. And it's definitely tough. Like I said, in terms of Pokemon, like I said, you got to catch them all. He should have, you got to catch that. But like I said, he definitely has had a good game. He didn't have a good beginning to the year, but I think he did have a great season. Especially he's battled injuries left and right. Alexa, be quiet. Jesus, my Alexa, Amazon. This is not an Amazon Alexa ad, but everybody heard that.
Definitely not. I would never want one of those demons in my house.
Okay. But no, like I said,
For once, I'm not kidding.
I thought that it was a great game though with the Ravens and the Bills. Two heavy, definitely heavyweight quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen going at it with each other. Like I said, I thought it was a great game. The Ravens almost came back. They almost forced it into overtime, but turnovers got to them. The Bills playing a great defense, just great coach team, and yeah, the Bills were just a better team. Dennis,
Listen, all I'm going to say is Lamar Jackson should buy a Mark Andrews jersey. He should be the biggest Mark Andrews fan there is, because that first 2-point conversion attempt was horrible. Lamar Jackson, they were daring him to run the ball. He could have ran it in the 3 or 5, 5 yards for a 2-point conversion. He could have crawled in, Brandon. He could have crawled in.
yes.
And instead, he tried to throw it over the middle, and it backfired horribly. So that's why I'm saying he should be the biggest Mark Andrews fan there is. That Lamar Jackson. More turnovers in the playoffs again. He wasn't particularly great. And you know who's got to get some fault here?
Who?
Derrick Henry. His final stat line is really good, but the first half, he was kind of useless. Now, I know everybody's going to say, well, Derrick Henry's always a second-half player, Dennis. We all know that. I'm not saying you're wrong. He is, statistically. But let's be honest, he's the best player on the Ravens this year. Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP. He shouldn't, whatever. And he was just not. The Bills, they were better in the first half. They were better in the whole first half. And the game was boring. That was the other thing. I didn't like it. It was a boring game. It was like a semi-high scoring game. It was boring. It was a boring game. I compared it to the Pacquiao versus Mayweather fight. It's not even wrong. Everything that we were expecting to get, we didn't get it. It was like watching Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Ugh, I shouldn't go that far. I was way out of line for that.
That's crazy.
I was out of line. I have to reel it in. But come on, dude. The Ravens, they looked, I have to say, for a Jim, it's Jim Harbaugh, right? I always get them confused.
Yeah.
For Jim Harbaugh,
John
Harbaugh coach team, they looked very ill prepared. They did. The Bills, they didn't have to do much. They really, if you look at the stats, the Bills were not good. On paper, if I covered up the box score, I just showed you the stats, you would think the Ravens won considerably. Combined, Josh Allen didn't have 200 yards. Rushing and running. I mean, that's the same thing. Rushing and passing. Didn't have 200 yards. Cook didn't have 70 rushing yards. Their stats were all pedestrian. In fact, all 4 teams to lead in yardage all lost this weekend.
Yeah.
0 for 4. I wonder if that's ever happened. So I don't know, man. If you're the Ravens, I think you got to start thinking about things. Maybe that starts with the head coach. If Mike Tomlin becomes available, just saying you got to pick up the phone. What if you trade them? John for Mike. Whoa. Now that's, if you're still watching this, viewers and listeners, that's a hot take. What do you think about that? You think I'm nuts? You think I'm crazy? You think I'm a madman? You all do. I know. What do you think of me? Dude, are you watching this Knicks game?
I actually am. Luckily, it's on TNT.
Oh, that's right.
Um,
You were part of MSG Armageddon.
undesirable is the Jets' job currently. We're going to get into that soon. Hexifer. Shout out to him. I know who that is. That is Fire Cooper. But, like I said, in terms of Mark Andrews, like I said, it sucks because now people are comparing Lamar Jackson to being the Joel Embiid now of the NBA. But
I think he's more like Karl Malone. Off-field antics not included. I mean, playoff statistics wise.
Like I said, I don't think it's still got a long ways to go, but I think we've just been blessed with great quarterback play over these past couple of years. I know, obviously, Ben Roethlisberger retired, Eli retired, Tom Brady retired, Phillip Rivers, all the great quarterbacks we watched growing up, Matt Ryan. It's crazy. Matthew Stafford's not getting up there. Now let's transition now to the Eagles-Rams game. What a great game. And shout out to Saquon Barkley for playing a great game. Yeah, I said Eli Manning. Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Saquon Barkley for, playing phenomenal and showing why the Giants, why he proved to the Giants they should have kept him, and showing he is the stud running back from Penn State transitioning to the NFL. Man, just what a great game. I know he had a great wild card game, but then obviously, all right, sure. Going off to the to Philly. What a great signing that was. I think he had 176 rushing yards, or was it 196? It might have been 196. One of the two. And so they almost came back though, the Rams. The Rams almost won it though. So, like I said, same thing with the Commanders Detroit game. I thought the Rams were going to play a competitive game. And so, I liked, like I said, I thought it was a great game. The Rams played competitive. Matthew Stafford, people saying he's getting up there in age. I thought he still can sling it. Still can sling it. Now the Eagles had a great defensive game as well, and I don't think it was until the fourth quarter that the Rams starting to put it together, that comeback, and they almost came back at the end of the game. But like I said, the Eagles, I don't know if it was because of the snow or whatnot, but it was definitely a great game. Now, Han, what did Hexifer say? New York made a smart decision not paying him. All right, you know what? Now seeing that, with the running back class that's coming up now, I don't know if they're going to get the guy from Arizona ASU, Cam Skidabo. I probably said his name wrong, of course. Gadaboo. Or that'd be crazy if he becomes a Giant. I feel like if he becomes a Giant, he'd be like, I don't want to say he's going to be like Peyton Hillis, but
I'm okay with that. Him and Tyrone Tracy.
Or he could be.
Reminds me of when we had Brandon Jacobson, Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon.
That's true. You know what? He could either be like the Christian McCaffrey, or he could be like a Saquon, maybe Austin Eckler. I could see him as a good Austin Eckler, actually. That's a good comparison. RJ Harvey, Saquon. Okay, maybe. Wait, Hexifer, say if I'm wrong. Do you think is it bad to compare Austin Eckler to Cam Scatabo? Let me know what your thoughts are.
I like this.
I like Austin Eckler or C-Mac, because just thinking of like just pass catching and running backs, obviously. What was I going to say?
See, the Giants aren't going to take a running back. Although,
I think he could easily be like a Saquon. Cam's more of a bruiser. That's true. I forgot about RJ Harvey. I can't go. Of course, he's a UCF. So I can't go against that. But either way, so no, just based off of that. Getting back to the Eagles though, I'm excited for the championship weekend. I think it's going to be great. In terms of the Commanders-Eagles game, that's not going to be an easy game. But I think if anybody's willing to go to Philly and, you know, like I said, I think if there's any team that's willing to go to Philly into the Lions' den and defeat the Eagles, it's the Commanders. They already beat them in the year. They played in, they obviously the division rival. They play in Philly once a year. It was a great game, a Thursday night game. It was a close game, but obviously Philly came out on top. But then I think Jaden Daniels' breakout game was against Philly in Washington when he threw that touchdown and Jamison Crowder to win the game. Cooperstown and what's up, Coop? So, like I said, if there's anybody that's willing to go to Philly, it definitely was him. Now, because Philly's lucky though, because if anything, they almost were going to have to play in Detroit. So that would have been a good game as itself. But I think I got the Commanders winning it. I got the Commanders punch a ticket right now to go to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59. It's crazy to say that because I remember watching Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 42. Yeah, Super Bowl 42, Super Bowl 45. But either way, like I said, and now in terms of the Bills-Chiefs game, I want to say the Bills, but I know the NFL, no, I will not do that, Kai. In terms of the NFL, they're going to want the Chiefs. In the NFL's eyes, they're going to want the Chiefs. So it's either going to be Chiefs-Commanders or Chiefs-Bills. No, Bills-Commanders. But I got the Bills versus the Commanders. Bring it back to 1991. Bring out the payphones. Bring out the beepers. Rugrats. Bring out Rugrats because that's when that first came out.
Season 3 Law and Order. Yeah, dude.
Season 3 Law and Order. And yeah, so that's my Super Bowl prediction. I got Commanders versus the Bills.
I can't root for the Eagles.
Eagles-Bills is a good matchup too.
I rooted for the Eagles once for some reason. I think it might have been seeding purposes. The year the Giants made the playoffs with Daniel Jones. And never again. They failed me then. And that's it. They had the opportunity. Although I will say the Eagles have cool jerseys. I like their jerseys a lot more than the Commanders. Not happening. Not rooting for the Eagles. Can't do it. So I'm just out of default. I'm saying Commanders. I know people are going to say, but Dennis, the Commanders are also a division rival of the Giants. You're right. But the Commanders were bad for so long. Actually, now that I think about it, the Super Bowl the Eagles won, I actually did root for the Eagles. Because they had never won before. So, yeah.
But
that's what I got. My actual prediction, take the heart out of it. Eagles, Chiefs. I mean, I hate to say it. I want it to be Bills Commanders so bad. I'm the Bills fan. I'm Bills Mafia moving forward.
Okay.
For this season. They're the only New York team, Brandon, and they're the last of the Mohicans of the New York market.
I can't really root for them necessarily, so.
Oh, so you'll root against the Excelsior State. That's what you're telling me.
Listen, like I said, that's all I got to say on that. I know. Hey, you know what?
Disgust me.
They're my division rival, but, like I said, that's my prediction. And like I said, on Cam Scatterboo, like I said, I want to take back the Peyton Hillis comment. I think he'd be way better than Peyton Hillis.
Whoa. Peyton Hillis was the cover of Madden 2009?
Because I think he could easily be
the year after Vince Young was on it.
Because I think Cam Scatterboo could easily be like an Austin Eckler. He can easily be like a Christian McCaffrey. And I think he definitely could be Peyton Hillis in the terms of him being a bruiser. Because he could definitely lay the hammer on the defensive back. Not saying he has to truck and power Derrick Henry, but for his size, he can lay it. So, bruiser like Peyton Hillis, catching ability like Austin Eckler. Probably the running ability of, I'm trying to think of how he runs. Maybe the running ability of Saquon. So he definitely could be the perfect back. He has the opportunity to be the best back in his class behind, with Genty, with RJ Harvey. Yes, I said RJ Harvey. And yeah. So now Josh Allen doesn't. We beaten Josh Allen a couple times. Yeah, Eckler hybrid, yeah. Now on to, I know this is going to be Hexiverse. He's been waiting for this for a long time. Now Aaron Glenn about with the Jets in that situation, the Jets head coaching search, a head coaching hiring process throughout the NFL. Ben Johnson just got officially hired. They agreed to a deal with the Bears. I know it was cool to see that press conference. Him walking into the Chicago Bears facility that they train at, and just him talking to the crowd. You can tell it's off to a great start right away. So I hope that goes well. Did you see that there actually some kids got Caleb Williams' number and they actually pretended they were Ben Johnson?
Yeah,
That was funny. So now it's actually legit. I just thought that was crazy. My thought is, how the heck did those kids get Ben Johnson's Caleb's phone number?
Right? That's
weird.
what I want to know.
That's like what connections do they got?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely interesting. I like how Caleb though was kind of like a cool champ about it. Like, hey, I mean, I don't know. I still be kind of sketched out. Like, hey, I have fun. Yeah, I don't know you. Like, how'd you get my number? Like,
I'd be disturbed.
Oh shoot, I hope that's not the case. Oh, nice. You remember Andrew Rosso?
Yeah.
He goes to my gym and he was telling me he's at the game today.
Oh, a buddy of mine's at the game too.
Oof, that's crazy for Caleb. But no, so I like the Ben Johnson hire. I still think he's a great OC. I feel like a lot of people, like I said. Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, OG.
The fix is kind of on in this game. There's a few missed calls that should have gone to Brooklyn.
You would know. But like I said, so shout out to I think it's a great hire. Hopefully Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles. I definitely think it's interesting. I don't know why Ryan Poles is still there with this hire. He did put together a good roster for the Bears, but I guess it's more of a coaching than upper management. So hopefully Ben
fired Eberflus, man. Not when they did. Not when they did. That was so stupid. Oh, because that stupid game. Listen, I like Caleb Williams. I don't want him to fail. But come on. That was completely on him. That was completely on him. That is like rudimentary football. Get the ball, spike it, or get the ball, run a quick play, take your time out. That was so. And you know how I know I'm right? The Raiders did the exact same thing against the Chiefs the next day, and nobody criticized it. Okay? I'm right. I'm sick of NFL media. They're just, when something goes wrong, just kill the coach that's the least popular. That's always what they do.
All right.
And not for nothing, some of the effort that what's his name put in there. Who's their wide receiver?
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, some of the effort he was putting in that game was like, come on.
Let's see what the comments.
How much are you getting paid for again?
He is getting paid a shoot ton of money. But back to Aaron Glenn. So now, obviously, congrats. So we'll see what happens. So with the Bears, they still got a lot of offseason to go. They still got, Ben Johnson still got to construct his staff together, and hopefully him and is big with Caleb. I don't hate Caleb Williams. I don't get I don't understand the hate with them. I can understand at the beginning of the season. He was making some questionable decisions, like he was still in college. Like, guy, this is not the college anymore. You're not at USC anymore. You're not playing against like UCLA. So like I said, my work in college, but Minnesota Vikings, so not UCLA guy. You gotta get it going. So, but I think he played definitely better down the line, and we'll see. I think them beating the Packers in the end of the year, that was a good sign. Wow, we got three in here. That's pretty good. I wonder who else joined in here. But now to Aaron Glenn. Whoever's in here, these three people, I just want to say thank you for joining, and I want to know who you guys are. I'm just curious. I know we got Hex, Now back to Aaron Glenn. So supposedly Jordan Schultz just came out with he just tweeted this out like about almost a half hour ago. So Aaron Glenn was known to coming in for a second interview today, along with Lance Hermick. I believe that's how I pronounce it. He's he works for the Commanders after he spent 24 years with the Detroit Lions. So he's pretty close with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Now they said if Aaron Glenn would be the guy to take the Jets job, he would come in as the GM. So now Jordan Schultz just came in. He said that Aaron Glenn, after today's interview with the Jets, landed back in Detroit via Woody Johnson's plane. Shoot, I want to get on Woody Johnson's plane. Hey, Woody, you got to fly. I got to fly me out to Miami when the Jets play the Dolphins. That's another topic. No deal was made, but sources have said that a substantial offer was made for the Jets job if he wants it. Glenn is currently constructing his potential staff, which would largely include Lions quarterback coach Mark Brunell, who was a quarterback in the NFL for the Jaguars, and the last couple of seasons in the league, he actually was with the Jets. I remember him on the Jets. So if he doesn't get the OC job in Detroit, he'll be in play for the OC job with the Jets with Glenn. And this was interesting when he said former Jets special teams Mike Westhoff could be an option to join the team. So that I would like a lot. That would be pretty cool. For the DC, they said he wants to bring in a former NFL head coach. I like that. When I think of a veteran NFL head coach,
Rex Ryan.
That'd be cool. I'd consider it. That'd be cool.
Horrible idea.
That'd be fun to do.
Horrible idea.
But we'll see. I don't think what Cooper said. I don't think it's an awful head coach candidate. They were as Cooper said it. But it really didn't turn around up until supposedly he didn't have a lot of the final say in the decisions with the Detroit Lions when he was with them for almost all that time. So I don't know. I like Aaron Glenn. I think he could bring leadership to and definitely different coaching style to the team than Robert Saleh did. Obviously, it didn't work out when Saleh was here. But like I said, I'm not going to give this game on this Saturday. I'm not going to fault him for it. Because like I said, Jared Goff also threw a pick 6 and 3 turnovers. And the Commanders were just red hot. I'm not going to blame the game too much on Aaron Glenn. Like I said, he's a well-respected coach. What I want from the Jets is a leader. That's what they need. They need a culture builder. And I think he needs to bring that from Detroit to New York. And I like especially, Lance Hermick, if I'm pronouncing his name correct. He probably was key with drafting Jaden Daniels. He's been I think like a second-hand man to Adam Peters with the Commanders. So the turnaround that they've had. So I think it'd be a good pairing, and we'll see. But, that's what's going on with Aaron Glenn. I'm ready for the news. Supposedly he's putting together the staff, as they said. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What are your thoughts on this?
Is that who you want the Jets to hire, Aaron Glenn?
I'd either want Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores, because he has the experience, and I think, like I said, accountability, leadership. Arthur Smith, even though there's no other good offensive candidates really out there. If I had to go with experience, I guess Arthur Smith. I think he didn't really have a good rap in Atlanta. He had an aging Matt Ryan. He had Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke for some years. So, but then again, when he was with Atlanta, the Drake London and Bijan, they didn't really get the best. His coaching didn't really get the best out of them. So they were 7-10 for 3 straight years for a reason.
Yeah.
So if you want to go 5-1, first-time head coach, I like what Jake Asman said. Go with Josh McCown. But
really,
yeah, why not? What happened with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a great year, has experience. If you were going to take a fly on a first-time head coach like that, I like what Jake Asman was talking about.
I think they got to get a win now coach, unless Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to come back.
I don't think Rodgers is going to come back. I think it's best if they probably move on. Aaron Rodgers is it's not his fault for a lot of it's most of it, but not everything.
God, they're giving this to the freaking Knicks, man.
But yeah, I think that's it for
I'm sorry.
No, but this was a great episode. But anything else you got to say before we wrap up?
I agree with Mr. Friedman here in the chat. Dude was in the Lions front office for 20 years when they were doggy doo-doo. Do you remember, was that on BDJ or was that on just Tui and Gable? When I used to do the Google Translate to say doggy doo-doo, if somebody was bad.
I don't remember that, no.
Oh, okay. Then that must have been Tui and Gable. Doggy doo-doo. They used to crack me up. Yeah. Garbage. Yeah, there's a fun bit.
Yeah. But all right. I guess that's
All
it.
right. I guess that does it for this edition of Batten and Chat. Oh, Sports Shack.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, check swing on that one. My bad. This edition of Sports Shack. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Wow.
Thank you, everybody. And I hope
Rookie
everybody has a great night. Thank you for listening to Sports Shack episode 9. This is the first one we did of a live stream. So I'm happy to see we did have a couple viewers. Hopefully we can get more of it in the future. Whoever's watching this. Thank you guys again. My name is Brandon Natale. What are you gonna say, Dennis?
Please like, comment, share, subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram.
Even though the live stream is over, you can still share it and people could watch it after the fact.
Please go to _Sports Shack on Instagram to follow our page for Sports Shack content. And obviously subscribe to the YouTube page, please, most definitely, at Sports Shack. And like I said, thank you guys again for watching. My name is Brandon Talley, along with Dennis Tui, and have a great night.